Happy Sunday. Hopefully you didn't catch that little blooper we had just a second ago, being live for about 5-10 seconds. But we are back. Welcome everybody to BNT Sports Talk Radio or Sports Talk Show. We're not on the radio, we're on YouTube. And thank everybody for coming to join us on this Sunday evening. We're looking forward to really covering a lot of NFL news with all the playoff seedings coming or rounding into shape. And we'll talk a little bit about the NBA as well. If this is your first time listening to us, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, click the like, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. So, B, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good, man. Just chilling. Getting ready for the playoffs here. Ready for my team to get bounced in the wild card game. Should be fun. Should be
Well,
fun.
at least your team's playing.
Right.
Mine didn't make it.
You're right.
You gotta be happy about it. A little happy there. You got a chance. First, I think you got a shout out for us, B.
Oh yeah, Kane, if you're watching, see you again. We shouldn't be cussing today. There's nothing that really got us fired up, so we should be good. But promise, no cussing for you tonight, Kane.
We'll do our best.
Yes, absolutely here.
All right. Well, we just talked about it, so I think that's where we're going to start. And we'll be spending a lot of time in the NFL, but we'll start with the Saturday games, the Chiefs and the Raiders. And seeing that I'm a Raider fan, I guess I kind of have to stick my nose out to get it chopped off here. The Raiders had a chance, small chance to get into the playoffs about 3 weeks ago. They never could get it done, and they've lost a couple of games toward the end of the season. Switched quarterbacks, which didn't really do much other than help them continue what they've been doing all season, which is losing by a little bit. But this time they lost by a lot. The Chiefs came out ready to roll, and they were looking to clinch their number one seed. So they didn't play no games with the Raiders. They came out and beat them down. And I believe the final score was 38 to 13? 38. It was not 38 to nothing. That is incorrect. But I'll pull up the scores here. But the Raiders really didn't have a chance, and this has been one of the most disappointing seasons that I can. It was 31-13. That's correct. So one of the most disappointing seasons that the Raiders have had in quite some time. And, of course, the Raiders have had terrible seasons. Don't get me wrong. They've had some bad seasons the past 10 years. But there was a lot of hype going into this one. Devontae Adams, Waller, Winfro. They brought Crosby in, who actually had a great season. And they could not turn all of that talent into W's. So they're on the outside looking in as far as the playoffs go. We already talked about Derek Carr last week, so we're not going to harp on that too much because we have to actually talk about winning teams this show. But B wanted to make a point here about before the season we made some predictions about records. And unfortunately, folks, I went out on a limb and really put my heart into my team and said that they would go 11-6 this season. Well, they went 6-11, so apparently I had my numbers backwards. I wish somebody would have told me.
You were close.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Call them predictions.
Yeah, that sucked. B, did you happen to see the game? And I don't know what thoughts you would have about it, but did you see the game?
I really didn't catch much of it there. Yeah. Honestly, it didn't even look like the Chiefs were really trying. They were just kind of, one, making sure nobody got hurt, but two, making sure that they won the game as well. And honestly, I thought the Raiders were going to come out firing just like they did against the 49ers, and they didn't do any of that. And it got to the point where the Chiefs did this play where they were spinning around in circles.
Oh, I saw that.
McKinnon lines up behind, McKinnon lines up as a quarterback, and then Mahomes lines up as the running back, and then they end up scoring a touchdown off of it, like some school ground stuff against the Raiders. And if I'm a Raider fan or if I'm a Raider player, I'm pissed. Like that is a sign of disrespect to a team who went through all of that there, and then your rival's going to dance all over you on your own field and then score a touchdown on it. Like, at least stop the play. But damn, just to allow a touchdown,
The, the
terrible.
Chiefs have been killing the Raiders for the past 5 to 10 years. Like about, it's been almost 10 years. They've been beating them up pretty bad. And it's always been a rivalry from way back in the '60s where the Raiders used to have the upper hand, but not so much anymore. And so, Chief fans and the Chiefs in general, always as a franchise, they always get up to play the Raiders. That's always how it is. So you can't escape it, man. That's how it is. So,
You see, but the Raiders have been this. The Raiders have been the same way too, though. Like
yeah,
they come out
yeah,
when they
that's
play
true.
the Chiefs, and they threw a goose egg on there, man. And you really can't blame the quarterback. That was an all around team suck fest.
Yeah, well, I mean, the defense wasn't going to hold up long enough for them to, be able to stick with Kansas City. I don't think. And Kansas City is just a better offensive team. The Raiders just don't match up with them. They're not in that place quite yet. And although the Chiefs don't have the otherworldly defense, they have a really good pass rush, and that's how they've been, keeping other offenses at bay by putting pressure on the quarterback. So I didn't expect Jerry or Kerry or Cherry or whatever his name Stidham is to come in and do anything. The guy's been a backup. I saw the fact that he's an ex-Patriot, and I got scared. Like, oh, God, they're going to try to start this guy next season. Because you know how that Patriot treat thing is. It's like once you're a Patriot, all of a sudden you're supposed to mean something special. Sorry, Garoppolo. But you know what I mean? It doesn't...
Damn. Taking shots at them, man.
Raiders got a lot of problems. They got to fix in the offseason. But enough about them. Let's move on to some of the games that actually happened today where teams were actually playing for something.
Yep. Seeding today.
Let's start with the top games of the week, and we'll kind of go through them and just talk about them a little bit. I actually got a chance to watch a little bit of this, the Eagles and the Giants, and I must say, Jalen Hurts has come back, and, well, that's all you need to know. I mean, the Eagles came out, they handled business. They jumped on top of the Giants early. The Giants tried to make a late push, but it wasn't enough, and the Eagles come away victorious. Eagles have been a top team all season. They're going to continue to be a top team, and I think they will be playing in that title game, in my opinion.
Well, you know what's funny? Like there was talks about obviously Jalen Hurts winning the MVP, and then there was a lot of chatter about him basically saying, "Oh, well, if you plugged anyone else in that offense, they would win as well." Well, no, that wasn't the case. The Eagles almost. Meacham, Gardner Minshew.
Minshew, that's his name. I said Meacham, my bad.
Yeah. you got me on that. I kind of believed you.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, that was convincing, right?
But, that if these last two games for the Eagles wasn't a testament to why Jalen Hurts should be the MVP, is because they almost blew that the top seed to the Niners. Yeah. Had he not come back today and played in that game,
yeah,
the Niners are probably sitting in the 1 seed right now. So Jalen Hurts matters to the Eagles more than anyone really knows. And I think today should be a solidification on why he should be the MVP. He was the quarterback on the best team, and he had a really, really good season. I mean, you can't take that away from him.
Right. He's a dual threat quarterback that doesn't make mistakes. I mean, that's what you're looking at. And so for you're looking at a guy that has that much athleticism. He can move without the ball, but he can also stand in the pocket and swing it and throw it 80 yards down the field. So he's got an arm. And, I mean, the guy's played a good, best season as you could ask for a, what is he? Is this his second or third year in the league?
I think this is his third
year in the league?
Second, I want to say third, but I could be wrong. Let me pull up my stats.
Let's just say a young quarterback. For a young quarterback, he's doing very well for himself. So congrats to Jalen Hurts. If he does get the MVP, I hope he does. He deserves it. And people need to stop hating on black quarterbacks. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
I knew that. I had a feeling that was going to come into play.
Anybody can do that. No, anybody can't do that, dummy. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what?
That's what blows my mind, though, is that, that's coming from people who are talking heads. They say, oh, yeah, that, anyone could do that. Well, no, you can't do what he does. Like, that is just a different that's a different thing. Anyone can be a pocket quarterback. That's what the traditional quarterback is. But
Right.
to be a dual threat and have a good arm and an accurate arm at that
Right.
just shows how important he is to Philadelphia. I don't think the Eagles would have had the season they had not Jalen Hurts had the performance of what he had either.
Of course not. Of course not. Of course not.
So this is his second year in the
Second
league.
year, so even better, second year in the league. So I mean, yeah. So yeah. Kudos to that young man for getting it done. The Eagles have been flying under the radar most of the season, even though they've been the best team in the league. And
Yep.
we'll get to see how far they can go in the playoffs. I mean, this is a new thing for not for the Eagles, but for Jalen Hurts, and we'll see how they do as the top seed. So we'll move on to
little preview to the future of our show.
Yeah. Now we'll move on to the NFC, where the 49ers took on the Cardinals. The only reason this was important is because, well, if the Eagles had lost, unfortunately, that did not happen. So this game wasn't that important. However, the Niners did come out, get the job done. They beat up on the Cardinals, who have been also another team that just has been very underwhelming. So I don't know what's going to happen with them. I think Kyler Murray's been out with an injury. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's not going to be ready for the start of the year next year either.
And even when he was playing, they ever since that I think it was last season, or it may have been the season before, where they started off so hot. They only lost like 2 games, and then they just went down the toilet at the very end of the season and lost in the playoffs.
That was last season.
Yeah, so they just haven't been able to recover from that, and they really look like a loser. So they got to find a way to pick it back up, man.
Damn.
Well, they do. I mean, you get so many wins under your belt, and then all of a sudden the whole mentality falls out the bottom of it. I mean, that leaves some speculation as to where the leadership is on that squad. Now let's move on to the Vikings and the Bears, which again had some playoff implication just because the Vikings they could have jumped up to the second seed, right?
Past the 49ers.
I did. I just talked about them. The Niners. Well, they won. Well, I just talked about it. The Cardinals.
Did I miss something?
No, I was just talking about how bad the Cardinals were. The 49ers, they won. I mean, come on. They beat the Cardinals.
Okay.
we could talk about Brock Purdy or McCaffrey. Great game.
We'll talk about them in the next segment, probably.
They should have. They did what they should have done. Okay, they beat the crap out of a bad team. Come on, the Vikings beat the Bears. No surprises there. Only implication was if the Niners or Eagles had lost, which did not happen. So nothing to talk about there. Now the Seattle and the Rams played each other. Seattle needed to win and almost gave it away. They had to win in overtime.
The Bears won something. You forgot that the Bears won something today, right?
What did they win? What?
They won the number 1 draft pick for next year.
How?
They secured the top draft pick. The Bears have the number 1 pick going into next season.
Oh yeah, they secured the worst record in the league.
Yeah, exactly. That's a win for some Bears fans. Hey,
now they could go draft Mitchell Trubisky's cousin. Good job. I mean. What are they gonna do?
I don't think dude, that was a bad pick, but
yeah, no kidding. That was so stupid. Mitchell Trubisky. Was it Mahomes in that same draft? I'm gonna have to look that up. We're not gonna get into that, but
why don't you talk about the next segment and I'll look that up.
It was just bad. And then we got Green Bay and Detroit. So Detroit has a chance to spoil Green Bay's chances to get into the playoffs, allowing Seattle Seahawks to get that final spot in the NFC. Green Bay currently is up by 6 points. It's 9-3, so not the most invigorating display of game. Quality of game we got going here, to be honest with you. And to be honest, Green Bay's been pretty flat all season. So even if they do make the playoffs, I don't have a lot of faith in those guys. But we'll continue to monitor the game, keep you guys updated on the score, because that will be that last playoff spot that is up for grabs. So B, let's talk about the matchups. Now that we know some of the teams in the NFL that are going to play in the playoffs, we get to look at some of the matchups in the upcoming weekend. I'm extremely excited about NFL playoff football. Always fun. And and we get to see some of these top seeds and hopefully see some possible upsets. There are a few questionable teams in here, and we'll talk about that a little bit. We'll start with the top of the NFC, where we've got the number 2 overall 49ers. Now, I'll preface this by saying that Philly is got the first round bye, so obviously they won't be playing in wildcard weekend. But we've got the Niners playing either the Seahawks or the Packers based on what happens in the game tonight with Green Bay and Detroit. Gotta be honest, not taking either one of those teams. I'm pretty sure the Niners are going to win. B, any thoughts on that?
All right, the Niners should handle either one of those teams. They have the Packers number, that's for sure. The Packers have never beaten the 49ers since, I think when Brett Favre was quarterbacking. I think that was the last time that the Packers have beaten the Niners in the playoffs. The Seahawks, squeaked in. They're going to have to come down to San Francisco. The good thing with the Niners getting the 2 seed is they get 2 home playoff games now. They'll get a wild card and hopefully a divisional game. But I like the Niners in my bad. I just gave my prediction just now. But whoever the Niners play are going to blow right through them there. So that game won't even matter.
Agreed. The Niners defense has been so good this season. The Packers have been so flat. The Seahawks have been up and down. I don't see either one of those teams being able to challenge the 49ers defense. The 49ers offense, as we know, is a well-oiled machine that only needs to hand the ball off and throw the ball 5 yards in order to create points. So they don't have to do a lot. They have a really good offense. The Vikings and the Giants. I'll let you go first on this one, B. Who you got?
I was kind of wishy-washy on this one. I'll take the Vikings. It is a home game. Kirk Cousins got a little bit of experience in the playoffs. Justin Jefferson's first time in the postseason as well. I don't think the Giants have been able to maintain their strong play that they had in the beginning of the season. When they were dominating teams on the line. It's new territory for that entire New York Giants team. Let's face facts. They squeaked in when they were ahead of the division. They ended up squeaking into the postseason here. So I don't think the Giants come out of this here. I think it'd be a close game, but I don't think the Giants have a chance. I'm taking the Vikings on that one.
Yeah, I agree with you about it being close. The only thing is Saquon Barkley has played pretty pedestrian down the stretch of the season.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to have a chance against the Vikings, who have a fairly good defense and at times a very high-powered offense based on how well Kirk Cousins plays. As long as Kirk's not throwing to the other team, they should get this win.
Timmy Tim joined the chat. Can't take anything for granted, though. Niners got to play hard. Hopefully, not like they did against the Raiders. I think the game against the Raiders is a one-time.
They overlooked them. They overlooked.
Oh, 100%.
They didn't think the Raiders were going to pose any threat, and they got caught.
I don't think when teams go on these long winning streaks, you're going to have ugly wins. Not all of them are going to be pretty, and that was an ugly win. But you need ugly wins at late in the year to kind of gel what the team is going to do in the playoffs here. And there was nothing wrong with an ugly win on the Niners' behalf. I mean, today's game started super slow for them. Arizona stayed around in the game up until the second half, but these are the games that are going to get you ready for the postseason here. So it's okay to have these kind of slow starts here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they'll be well prepared, especially in this first game.
Yeah.
Now we jump into this one's a little sticky. We got the number 5 Cowboys versus the number 4 Buccaneers. I don't know if I have to tell anybody, but the NFC South is an absolute crap show. As I was talking to you earlier, B. I mean, all of the teams played each other and they all lost, except they didn't all play each other. Excuse me. They all played. They all played, and only the Panthers won. Yet the Buccaneers will still be hosting a playoff game in Tampa Bay against a Cowboys team with a better record. Buccaneers finished 8-9, just so you have an idea of how bad their division was.
Under 500, man.
I'm actually going to take the Cowboys, although the Cowboys have been extremely inconsistent. When they are good, they look great. And I think they have a chance against a lowly Buccaneers team that's kind of whimpering into the playoffs. and has really, I mean, they just haven't looked the part. Tom Brady has had moments, yes, but hasn't really had an entire game where we can say, yeah, that's Tom Brady. I'm not buying it. He needs to retire. He's old. Um, get him out of here. So yeah, I think the Cowboy. I'm picking the Cowboys to win that game.
um, dude, it's so hard to bet against Tom Brady sometimes, man. He's at home, so I'm giving him that. I'll give Tom Brady that. I think the Buccaneers end up winning this game. Um, it's it's tough. It's tough to say the least on this pick here. But this is if this is Tom Brady's really last rodeo, just so he can get his marriage back with Giselle, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Tom Brady
Hey,
on
man.
this one here. So I just think, in a wild card game at home against the Cowboys, you gotta go Tom Brady here.
Well,
I can't bet against
I'm
him
gonna
at least
chime
for
in on
one
that.
game.
That that ship has sailed, and
Literally.
there's a new Buccaneer in town, so he can let that go.
We got a few
A young
chats.
buck.
We got a few comments to catch up on. Nate, but Sarah, you furry little fuzzballs, good to see you. 49ers to the Super Bowl, baby. That could be something that takes place there. And then Timmy Tim agrees with Mr. Becerra. And then Mr. Wu Tang himself is back in the chat here.
That's right. What's up, Josh?
in,
Wu Tang.
in, in Brock we trust. So, we had this discussion about this here. And so I'm going to ask the chat just because I haven't really been able to pose this question out there. So, as we talk about the playoffs here, and let's talk about a hypothetical thing. If Brock Purdy helps take this team to the Super Bowl, win or lose, does he have the right to start for them? Does Brock Purdy have the right to start for the 49ers next season? And then if so, backup.
Yeah.
I'm going to pose that question to the chat because you and I have
we've
already had
talked
this
about it,
discussion here. So, Wu-Tang.
And then we got Trey. We got a Trey Lance fan with the Trey will be back better than ever.
Better than ever. And so this is my problem with that though, is you spend all these draft picks, you gave up a lot to get them, but you're gonna have two quarterbacks that are sitting in that locker room that I played in a Super Bowl to get your team there. They're the hot hands right now, and Garoppolo was 7-3 this season before the injury, and Brock Purdy picked everything back up. And you could tell the difference of the experience from Brock Purdy in his college days to Trey Lance. People don't like it when I say that, but it's the God honest truth. He played 4 years at a D1, and Trey Lance played 3 games and call it all of a sudden it's the number 3 draft pick in the league. So
yeah, I think the issue is going to be how far they go if they do get to the title game, if they do get to the Super Bowl. I just don't see a situation where they're gonna bench Brock Purdy and bring in another guy. I mean, it didn't work for Philly with Carson Wentz. I don't think it's just I just don't see that happening. So, in my opinion, you got to ride the hot hand and just go
100%.
with that, man. But
so Nathan Becerra comes back. Nope, I don't believe so. Trey will outbeat him. He's more talented and athletic. This is killing Trey watching this.
Well,
Tim backs it up as much as I like to see Brock take over as number 1. Trey getting the start next season.
So let's preface this by saying that the only way that Trey Lance can beat out a player is in the off season, right? We're saying he's going to beat these guys out in the off season unless they anoint him the starter before they even get into training camp, because otherwise you'd have to look at the game tape and decide. And if you did that, you're probably going to pick the guy that got you into the playoffs. And I'm not saying that Trey Lance can offer a little bit more with his legs or what have you, but in my opinion, I'm not a Niner fan, but look, y'all need to make a choice. And at this point, the fact that you're still able to win with a third string quarterback means that you've got a defense that's good enough to get you through. But you just need you need to make a choice on who you want your quarterback to be, and just stick with it. We did this whole waffling thing with Garoppolo, even though he went to the playoffs. Now Trey Lance is the new shiny thing that we can, hoist all the accolades at, but he hasn't played much. And when he was on the field, he got injured. And now Brock Purdy comes in, and now he's looking great. So whoever you need to make a choice and stick with it. I know you made a choice with Lance, but he went down in injury. But I mean, sometimes that's just the way it goes in the NFL, and you gotta go with the guy that got you that got you where you are, man. You gotta dance with the girl that brought you. You know.
You calling Brock Purdy a girl?
No, I'm just saying it's an old saying. You
Yeah,
can always look at the
yeah.
other girl and be like, oh, she looks. That's the Trey Lance thing, right? It's shiny. Ooh, shiny. But if it doesn't produce, then why are we talking? Look, I'm a Laker fan. I watch Anthony Davis play every single week. Okay, great player, but he's not available. So you have to think about these things. Who's going to get you the furthest? Anyway, moving
Well,
on.
this is a hot topic here. If Brock wins the Super Bowl, no way they bench him next
Yeah,
year.
of course not.
You know how hard that is to do to a quarterback that took you to there
Yeah.
and earns every right to be the starter for next season. Tim, that's the bottom line. You forgot to add that because Stone Cold said so, but we'll let that one go. Tim's argument with Trey is that he has a lot to learn on the field with the snaps that he takes, and Tim's actually bringing up a really good point. There is if you bring Trey Lance into this offense now, going back, you want to go through these baby steps again, but you got two quarterbacks in that room that aren't going to require baby steps anymore. So the thing is you're going to see yourself going backwards a little bit because you got an inexperienced quarterback back there compared to a guy who's gone through this regular season. Two quarterbacks that played majority of the regular season who have the experience. There's no wondering what ifs. It's now.
I think it's easy, really, because what you do is you take Brock Purdy has only played how many games? Brock Purdy, how many games has he played? 3 games?
I think it's 6.
He played 6 games.
No. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, this is a guy that was drafted at the very tail end of the draft. He's the Mr. Irrelevant. He doesn't have any more NFL experience than Trey Lance does. They both have the same amount of experience. Who played better in the games that they played? I mean, you just have to look at it. I mean, if you honestly believe that Trey Lance played better than Brock Purdy is now, whenever he was playing, then by all means, I guess then Trey's the guy. But I just don't know if that's what we're seeing.
No, I'm not.
I can't argue an advantage for either one guy because both of them are rookies. The NFL is about proving yourself. They don't,
So let's see here. I'm trying to figure out when Brock Purdy took over. When the hell did he take over? It was during the Dolphins game.
So you got Nathan chiming in. He
So,
said 5.
Well, if you want to count the Dolphins game, it's 6, but full-fledged starts, you're looking at 5 here. He started when the Buccaneers came to town. But Nathan also brings up a good point. It's the team around him. Well, yeah, it is the team around him that is very good, but you still need to be able to manage the game here. You're not asked to do much but manage, and that's what Brock Purdy has done is he had managed these games here. He has checked off every box in my book now on why he should be the starter for the season here. But I still think Jimmy G is going to give him a run for his money. I think, unfortunately, with the Trey Lance injury and the emergence of Brock Purdy, Trey Lance is just going to find himself having to be a quarterback on another team. And there's other teams that could use a guy like Trey Lance. The Niners don't need that no more. The Niners have struck gold, no pun intended, with Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And this is his team right now. He has taken over as QB1. And I think it's his job to lose in the offseason. I just don't think he's losing it. Like that as a quarterback to sit there and go, I just helped take this team to the Super Bowl, and now you want me to go sit back on the bench.
No, that's not what's going to happen because even if at the end of this, that he gets them to the Super Bowl and they decide we're going to go with Trey Lance. Well, guess what? Brock Purdy's going to go somewhere else. I mean, at that point, he's the guy. Maybe he wants to sit on the bench, but more than likely, the answer to that is going to be no. There'll be another team out there that's looking for a young quarterback that they can plug and play. That's got NFL. Excuse me. That's got playoff experience. So yeah. I mean, guys like that, they're going to end up being picked up by other teams. That's just the way that goes.
And who knows? This could be Tom Brady 2.0 when Drew Bledsoe went down. This is the same scenario when Jimmy G goes down. Brock Purdy comes in. If he wins the Super Bowl, it's so hard to
he's not
say,
not benched,
we don't want him to be a part of that.
Yeah.
But in any case, as we have thoroughly dived into the Niners,
let's go back to the playoff standings, and we got out of the NFC. I had the Cowboys over the Bucks, and I think you had the Buccaneers.
Buccaneers, yeah.
AFC. All right, so now we've got the lowly Dolphins, another team that's limping into the playoffs against the Bills.
Can we agree?
Bills win that. I mean, we're not even going to sit here and talk about it.
Nope.
You don't even have to talk about the fact that it's a Miami team playing in the snow, probably. But yeah, they're just not going to win. The Ravens and the Bengals. So this is your squad, B. We're talking about a team that has been missing their star quarterback for the past 4 games, and they've been on a slide ever since. Their rumors is that he will come back and play in the playoffs. Do you think that gives them a chance? Do they have a chance to beat the Bengals?
Dude, Lamar Jackson's won one playoff game since he's been a Raven. How did Baltimore do? They lost. I get it. They sat everyone today. Mark Andrews sat. Half the defense sat. We were on our third string quarterback because Huntley's got a concussion. So it's not like Lamar was going to play today to risk injury before the playoffs. So yeah, they deserve to lose today. And now they might as well just stay ready this week because they got to play Cincinnati again this coming weekend. So there's no point leaving Cincy to go home just to fly back. But just losing Lamar for the last month and then expecting him to come in and win a playoff game when he's rarely won a playoff game and is rusty. This can't be the most imperfect time to come back from an injury to think you're just going to roll out of bed and win a playoff game. I'd be shocked if they do. I'd be shocked. That the defense is beat up. They've been on the field for too long. They've been exposed. They give up a lot of big plays, and it shows that the Ravens their offense is, even with Lamar in there, not good enough right now. Because all teams got to do is zero in on Lamar, and then Wallace.
Yeah.
Throwing the ball to Deshaun Jackson.
You don't have any. Yeah, Deshaun. They dug him up out of the.
They had to bring Sammy Watkins back for a second stint after they got rid of him last year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that offense is just not built for however reason they found themselves in the playoffs. I give credit to because of the start that they had, but there's a point in the season where your team's tired, and this is the point now. There's no rest. They should have been on top of the division. They gave that up. So now they got to go to Cincinnati and play a game when Cincinnati is playing some good football. Man, Cincinnati's going to have to win this one here. So I'm taking the Bengals over my own team.
I'm taking the Bengals too, man. I think that the Bengals took some time to get it going. They start off the season pretty poorly, and after playing the Super Bowl last year. So they really really had a little bit of a hangover. But once they got over that, they started to turn the corner. Excuse me, and I think that they'll get the win over the Ravens, especially playing at home. And I love their uniform. So there you go. Let's go to this is the doo-dooest game of them all. Almost not quite as bad as the Cowboys Bucks, but the Chargers and the Jaguars. So first, kudos to the Jaguars for winning their way into the number 4 seed and winning their division. Good job. Jaguars have been crap for so long, and here they are. They got the Lawrence kid in there with his long flowing beach boy hair, throwing
Looks like
touchdowns and
the kid.
whatnot.
Looks like the kid from Remember the Titans.
Remember
Remember when he gets off the bus and he comes out? That's him.
Oh man, so but this should be a good game. The Jaguars and the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers have played pretty well. They've been up and down. Had a really good start to the season, but started to teeter off a little bit through the mid and the remainder of the season. I'm gonna take the Chargers only because I've seen them play more than I have the Jaguars to be quite often. To be quite honest, they they have in my opinion a more seasoned and better quarterback. And I don't know, the Jaguars just, I mean, yeah, they won, but I don't know, they don't strike me. They don't strike any fear in me at this point. So B, I don't know if you have an opinion on that.
Well, the Jags haven't lost a game. It feels like in about a month. They've
Yeah,
they've been they've
that's
been
true.
red
You're
hot.
right.
But no one's talked about the Chargers and how hot they've been as well.
Yeah.
So on paper, this doesn't stand out as a really big game. But honestly, I think this may be the game of the playoff of the wild card weekend. Here is the Chargers and Jaguars here, and I'm taking the Chargers here to go into the Jag Stadium and beat them. Justin Herbert is that guy right now. He's on a tear throwing the ball right now. Keenan Allen is back from injury as well, so he's healthy. And Cam Akers has definitely been the best running back after Josh Jacobs had his run as well. So I think the Chargers have that dog in them to pull this one on the road against the Jaguars. I like the Chargers winning this one as well. But the chat's got a little bit of a playoff prediction here.
All right.
Joshua, we call him Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang predicts a Bengals and Bills in the AFC Championship, and we're going to touch on that very shortly. And then T-Law is definitely a guy I like him. Becerra, I like Terrence or Trevor Lawrence as well. He just needs, I think, one or two more weapons around him, and I think you'll start seeing an improvement there. But it's going to be a good matchup between the Chargers and Jags. I like the Chargers a little more.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That'll lead us to the division here.
Yeah.
So who do you see out of the teams that we predicted, Taj? Who are your two division winners in the NFC?
So I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm not surprising anybody with this, but the Eagles and the 49ers. So I'm going to pick those two teams to represent the NFC, and yeah. So the Niners and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I've got the same as well. I don't see that changing, the 1-2 matchup coming from there. Both teams are just they're just too good, man. You got a high-powered offense, and then you got a high-powered defense as well, ready to run into each other for that. So I do like the Philly. I like the Eagles and the Niners to make it T-Law equals sunshine.
That's right.
Oh man, thank you, Tim. I forgot about his name. It's Sunshine. I'm gonna start calling him Sunshine now.
He belongs in California.
Let's just go to the AFC division. In the divisional round? Who are your two teams coming out of that AFC division?
You know what? I am going to. The Chiefs are always so good, but sometimes they also have quite a bit of letdowns as they've had over the past 2 to 3 years. The Bills have played really well. Bengals, of course. I think the Bengals beat the Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken, last year. But I'm gonna stick with the top seeds on this one too. I really like the Bills. So I am going to go with. You know what? No, I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna go with the Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are the teams I'm gonna go with.
Woo, Bengals and Chiefs. I unfortunately will see it as the two top seeds. I think this is the year where they have true 1 and 2 seeds here that are hitting their stride. I am going with the Chiefs and the Bills to see each other in the AFC Championship game this time around here, and they've given us some really good games. I think the Bills went into Arrowhead to beat them, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
And then we all remembered the game last year, the game of the decade between the Bills and the Chiefs as well. So I would love to see that again, and also I would love to see it at a neutral site because we decided. Well, there was no football last week played due to some very unfortunate reasons here. So with both teams going in there in uneven records, now we're going to have an AFC Championship game on a neutral field, which will take us to our AFC and NFC Championship predictions. So, Taj, first of all, let's predict where the AFC Championship game would be host. Where would you like to see that game played?
Considering the locale of both of those teams, it's going to be the best dome stadium. And I think we talked about this. So I think it's going to be Detroit.
Detroit, yeah, I can see that. Right, smack dab in the middle,
Yep.
inside. Elements aren't going to be too bad. I would agree with that there. And then, so who's your AFC Championship game prediction?
AFC Championship game, I am going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs to go back to the Super Bowl.
Wait, who? The Chiefs?
Yeah.
You going with the Chiefs?
Yep.
Ooh, I think Josh agrees, or Wu Tang agrees with you. Mahomes is going to ring around the rosy again. They suck. So, Wu Tang, are you saying that the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl?
Now, I think he's saying that the Chiefs are going to lose.
Oh, okay. So he's taking the Bills. I'm taking the Bills in this one as well. I think they've got all the spirit, all everything that's happened to them in the world. Over the last couple of weeks
that's very true.
doing it for Damar. I've got the Bills getting over that hump, getting back to the Super Bowl here to play. Predicted. I see Becerra's prediction. So, who is representing the NFC in the Super Bowl this year?
I'm going to go with Philly. I'm taking Philly. The Niners have a greater chances going just as much as Philly. The only situation I'm looking at is the fact that Philly's playing at home, and we're talking about two quarterbacks that we're putting up against each other. And although we love Brock Purdy, I'm afraid Jalen Hurts has been the better quarterback all year. So it's really going to be about a very good Jalen Hurts versus a very good 49ers defense. And I think it's going to be a really good game. And I'm not saying that Philly is head and shoulders above the Niners because they are not. But I'm gonna put it on the QBs. I mean, I'm gonna say the best quarterback wins, so I'm going with Jalen Hurts.
I'm gonna have to go with the Eagles as well. The Niners have struggled a lot. Hey, look, there's Kane.
What's up,
What's
Kane?
up, Kane? Hey, we gave you a shout out earlier. We were hoping to see you, and we've got you here. I hope you're doing well, little man. I'm going with the Eagles. The Niners do struggle against a mobile. You could read the chat, man.
There's a lot going on, man.
The Buffalo Wild Wings versus the Niners.
Yeah, man. I mean, we got all type. We got soap prop. We got plot twist. Jimmy G starting pretty hurt. What we predicting injuries? What is going on? Oh man.
We're gonna get caught up in a sec here, but the reason why I see the Eagles playing in the Super Bowl here is because of the dynamic factor of what Jalen Hurts brings. Mobile quarterbacks have given the Niners problems this season here, to say the least, and they haven't played it. The last time they played against a very high-profile offense, the Chiefs absolutely took it to them there. And this game's going to be in Philadelphia here. We all know how that place gets for sports in general. So I see a Bills and Eagles Super Bowl with fan bases fighting, putting each other through tables, throwing things at each other. Man, the NFL will not allow a tailgate to take place because everybody getting messed up in that tailgate.
I don't know if you remember the last time Philly won the Super Bowl, but let's just say hide your horses.
Yeah. You better lock them in the stable here. Let's get caught up on the chat now that we have. So our Super Bowl predictions are the Bills and Eagles. We'll predict our winners in just a sec, but let's get to the chat here. So Nate Becerra believes it's going to be the Bills and Niners, and he believes that Brock Purdy is going to get hurt and Jimmy G is going to take him to the promised land.
Oh, man.
So, Becerra, if they do that and Jimmy G wins the Super Bowl, you bringing him back?
I thought,
I'm
what
just
happened to
saying.
Trey Lance? Where did
I'll
that
add
go?
another. I'll add another plot twist to that one there. And then Timmy Tim says, "Spirit from what?" Hashtag Bills. I, I we had a discussion about this earlier here. Hashtag 3. And we got Kane and then the Buffalo Wild Wings versus the Niners here. That would be fun. I think a Bills Niners Super Bowl would be interesting to say the least, but there's just going to be something about that Philadelphia place that I think may get to Brock Purdy, or whoever, or Jimmy G at that case there.
Trey Lance has appeared. He comes down on a helicopter. Starts the game
it lands on that same ankle.
That's terrible.
So, with that being said, with your Super Bowl prediction is the Bills and Eagles, who do you have hoisting that Tiffany and Company Lombardi trophy?
I am picking the Kansas City Chiefs to repeat and win another Super Bowl. I think they've been playing very well all season offensively. They have an opportunistic defense, which shows up sometimes. So I will give folks, if folks are looking at me weird, I can understand why. But their pass rush has been it's been getting better and better. If they have the capability to really get to a pocket, to really get to a quarterback. And honestly, reason I'm picking this is because I really just want to see a really good quarterback show out. I want to see a 45-38 type game. I don't want to see the 49ers with their 23-13 victory. I don't want to see that. I want to see fireworks. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Kansas City to win the Super Bowl.
All right. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills.
All right.
Who have been the bridesmaid Super Bowl. For those who don't know the Bills story, I think it was 3 straight Super Bowl appearances, if I remember, in the 90s. And
5.
I
thought it was 5. Somebody looked that up for us. I think it was 5.
Yeah, somebody looked that up for us. But I'm going with the Bills to get off the schneid there. At some point, you cannot knock on the door and not get an answer. I think they're going to knock on the door of the Super Bowl and finally the league commissioner will open the door and hand them that trophy there. There's just, as much as this story has been with DeMar, you gotta imagine it's gonna. We've all seen it. It's like these Disneyland, these Disney movie writings where they end up winning the Super Bowl here. So this is that Disney story here with DeMar. And I'm not trying to make fun of the situation. Don't want anyone to get in a panic here, but it's just the nature of the beast here. It's the nature of the business here. What kind of ending would the Bills season be without a Super Bowl with their teammate almost basically dead on the field for 8 minutes?
Right, which is crazy in itself.
So,
and by the way, the Detroit Lions have just scored a touchdown. They have just taken the lead and are now up. What are they? 10? No, excuse me. What they have 6? What was it? 6-9? 6-9. So they're going to be up 12-9. All right,
Right. Let's get a little caught up on the comments here. So after the Buffalo Wild Wings versus the Niners, Becerra chimes in. Yes, it will be Jordan Love treatment because Jimmy G deserves it. He was playing the best ball of his career, but that's why you don't get rid of him, man. He's playing the best ball of his career. Passer rating was over 100. That's all I'm saying. Game over if you cuss. We're not cussing today, sir. No, sirree. Lance will be here. Lance will still be here. Back him if it was the case on a 2-year contract for Jimmy G if he was to win the Super Bowl. I don't know. You get Brock Purdy for a cheaper price.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
I agree.
And Kane gave us some smiling emojis here.
Yeah, some cracking up.
Chat. Got a lot of Niner fans in this chat here, so I'll leave it to you guys like this. We all know you guys are going to pick the Niners in the Super Bowl, so who do you want to see the Niners play in the Super Bowl should they get there? Who is your pick? We've already got Becerra's Bills versus the 49ers. Who else? We got Josh with the Wu-Tang with the Buffalo Bills and the Niners. So we'll let anyone else who comes in give us your Super Bowl predictions here. Playoffs. The Colts only say that. Only the Colts. So exciting time of the year is upon us. We have the NFL playoffs. Um, Send Jimmy G to Las Vegas. Not a
Mm,
far prediction.
yeah, we talked about that last week, and at this point, anybody could be the Raiders quarterback. We don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's just
I
ridiculous.
think that would be a nice combination with Devontae Adams and Darren Waller.
Well,
Um,
they've got weapons, so if they find the right
they,
QB,
de-
you never know. You never know.
no, but
All right.
let's we oh, the best part of the year as well. Let's see who gets fired tomorrow from the NFL as a head coach. It is Black Monday starting tomorrow, folks.
Oh well,
And there was
I don't
one
know.
there was one guy, Taj, you got to look this up in the Rams Seahawks game. Uh, what Todd McVay is that the Rams coach name? Todd
Yep.
McVay.
Mm-hmm.
So watch
Sean.
his face.
Sean.
Is it Sean McVay?
Yeah.
Watch his face when that game-winning field goal goes through. I've never seen a "I'm about to get fired" face look until that field goal.
uh, the guy just won a Super Bowl last year, so I don't know if they're gonna necessarily fire him. But yeah, in the NFL, it's really cutthroat. I hope that doesn't happen for a guy who's gotten them to that point. Because the Rams just got to LA like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and then they end up in the Super Bowl, hosting the Super Bowl of all things, and winning. I don't I don't want to say conspiracy, but they got what they wanted out of the situation. Let's just put it like that. And I was actually in LA or passing through LA and drove by that stadium. It is a monstrosity like I've never seen. That thing it looks like a giant spaceship landed right in the middle of Inglewood. Anyway.
It just doesn't make sense, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you
Yeah.
go from being in to winning a Super Bowl to having one down year? Because, I mean, look at the offense. It's not like their entire offense was around. There was a lot of key players that were hurt.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, now it's like, oh, now we're going to fire you.
Right. It doesn't make much sense at all.
Like, what?
Makes no sense, man.
He had nothing to work with here. Let's get a little caught up here. Becerra says, I see Tom Brady to the Niners or to the Raiders or Niners on a 1 year. The Niners don't need to do these 1 year deals. This 1 year show and go, not worth what you're going to have to give up. You're going to have to give up more draft picks. So is that what you're willing to do? You've already done it with Trey Lance, and he may never see the field again. It doesn't make sense to do that. You're not in that kind of position. Tom needs to get his marriage situation in place. The only way he's going to get in place, sir, is when he, I don't know, for me, is when he stops playing football and Giselle allows him back.
Yeah.
But
yeah, well, first off, I don't want to see Tom anywhere near the Raiders because of the history that we have. He can go tuck his career just like he did in that game. I'm not interested. Please don't come to Vegas. We don't want you. Stay where you are or go home to your family. And as the chat mentioned, as Tim mentioned, go fix your marriage, buddy. Seriously. So I'm trying to look at. I don't know if I can't think of too many other coaches at the bottom of the pool. I think the Titans coach has a lot to be concerned about. They started off pretty hot and really turned into dumpster fire at the end of the season there. Although their quarterback situation has never been the greatest. Even
Brian Tannehill.
Yeah, Tannehill's always been kind of okay is the best way to describe him. So Mike Vrabel should be looking over his shoulder.
But then again, they try to run Derrick Henry into the ground last night, man. Well, the dude had like 900 carries.
They don't have any other choices.
80 yards.
That's the problem. Their offense is really dependent upon him churning up yards, and they just don't. I don't know what happened to them. They started off pretty well, and they've always been a kind of grinded out type of team where they're going to beat you up with the run. They're going to get in between the tackles, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. But once that running game goes away, they're pretty much just a big sack of mud. They don't have anything offensive.
No cussing, sir. Kane's still watching.
I said mud. A big sack of mud.
I would have said this. I would have said the sack of the other thing there. Let's see here. Becerra goes, Brady, you wouldn't. He's a free agent, no picks. Don't need to give up anything but a few mil. The Niners don't have a few mil.
I don't want him.
They don't have a few million to give up. It just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense when you've got a presence in the room that could get you to the Super Bowl. You don't need Tom Brady to get you to the Super Bowl. If you got a quarterback that takes you to the Super Bowl, that this discussion can stop. It can
Yeah, yeah,
100% stop.
and he's a winner. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, but I mean, just because he's out there headbutting people with no helmet or whatever, no, that was Baker Mayfield. But just because he's out there
yeah.
hollering and screaming, and I mean,
Let's
those
go.
days are over, man. You know, at some point we have to understand these athletes get to a point to where they're just not going to put a team on their back and carry them. And I don't want Tom coming to the Vegas trying to carry that because he can only do it for a year or so. And that's a lot of pressure in one season. I just don't know if that's not going to materialize, especially if we're talking about the Raiders. That's not going to materialize as a Super Bowl. It just isn't. So, no, thank you. No,
Your
thank you.
your kids need a dad.
Tom,
I know Tom
Tom
Brady's
Brady.
straight avoiding his kids. He
He's
must hate
just
his kids
avoiding
to have to want to
everybody.
play football
It's
still.
like, nope. Yeah, I think Giselle's richer than he is, so I guess he's just avoiding everybody altogether. Um,
Let's see here. Kane says Papa wants 49ers and Green Bay to play. I mean, there's a history behind that. I think, with the history given between the Niners and the
yeah,
Packers, why wouldn't you? But unfortunately, the Packers are just going to
they suck,
whoever
man.
has to play the Niners is
That's
just going to
gonna
get
won't.
smoked.
Let's
Yeah.
just put it this way:
Um,
the Green Bay Packers are having trouble beating the Detroit Lions right now. That's all you need to know.
yeah. And the Lions are hanging right in there with them as far as total yards. The Packers have 203 and the Lions have 200. So they're hanging around with them, even though they're not going to the playoffs. They're going to end that. They're going to end Aaron Rodgers' career Sunday night.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. Big catch by the Green Bay Packers to bring them down to the 15-yard line of the Detroit Lions. So even though we're talking mess about Aaron Rodgers, he makes a deep throw and is still getting the job done. That was a good catch. Anyway,
There's a flag on the field, though.
I think that's pass interference, defensive pass interference.
Anyways,
Uh,
we had a nice little rant the other night. Josh, there is no middle relief for the Giants. They don't want to sign anyone, so the Tyler Rogers brothers, but we'll get to that in just a moment here. Um, Donovan Mitchell dropped 71,
that's
Tosh,
right.
and
Last Monday, yep. Or this Monday, I should say.
unfortunately, it was shadowed due to a very tragic injury that almost cost a man his life.
Right.
But Donovan Mitchell dropped 71, and I was more impressed with it because it's not something that you see all the time. The last 71-point game we saw was provided by Devin Booker in there. But you made a very interesting comment. So why don't you share with me again comment on
Oh yeah.
on Donovan
So,
Mitchell 71?
so yeah, Donovan Mitchell, all power to him, man. He with Cleveland winning there, dropped 71, helped his team win the game. And then we talk about comparing this to some of the all-time single game performances within the regular season, we'll say. Well, there's a lot of guys on that list who have been playing in overtime, and I got a gripe with that. I mean, you scored 71, but you went into overtime. You had another, was it 5-10 minutes?
5 minutes.
Another 5 minutes. Some of these games, guys had double overtimes to put up extra points. And, my comment to B was, the first thing I said was, Kobe put up 81 in regulation. So
Come on.
it's not, it's just not impressive anymore,
If we can't give a man a compliment.
In regulation, not in overtime, 81 in regulation. So Donovan Mitchell, you put up 71 with overtime. Great. Awesome. I mean, even David Robinson didn't need overtime to put up 70. I mean, come on. Let's, whatever.
Look, 71 is still 71,
No, right.
however you want to see it there. And for you to throw Kobe Bryant out there without even dissecting the 71,
I don't
we were talking, and all of a sudden it was, Kobe did it in regulation. It was like, what? Come on, man.
Because it's the truth.
Away from Donovan.
It's the truth.
No, you're right. It's true.
That's like me. We gonna have a contest. Me and you. We playing a game or whatever. And I got 48 minutes to get mine done, and you got 58. And then you're gonna be like, oh well, I did good too. No, you didn't, because I did it in less amount of time.
But
Okay.
you're still taking that away from Donovan Mitchell, man.
Because it's just like Devin Booker. They'll do it once and we'll never hear from them again. And then in 10 years, we'll go back and look at this thing and we'll go, yeah, you remember Donovan Mitchell? Yeah, he was a good player. And
And
you remember Devin
and
Booker?
quite
Yeah, he
honestly,
was all right. I'm
that's
not
the
trying to be
only
rude, but them dudes ain't.
that you no one's brought up Devin Booker 71 since he did
Yeah,
it.
because it's a one shot deal. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, it's the type of player that you become if you're a Hall of Fame type player, and maybe Donovan and Devin Booker get up to those ranks by winning some playoff games and doing some great things in the next 5 years. But I don't see it. I really don't. They're great players, but they're undersized guards, and there are only a few great undersized guards in the league. There was only a few all time that you can point to. Okay, there's not a lot of them. There's
Well, Donovan
Isaiah
Mitchell,
Thomas,
if,
and then you gotta march all the way back to damn Oscar Robinson or something. You gotta go to who's another one. Oh man, the point guard for the Phoenix Suns, Kevin. God, why can't I think of his name? You know what I'm talking about. Play with Barkley.
Kevin
Johnson. That's another one. I mean, there's a handful of them, but you don't get a lot of small scoring guards that end up these guys end up winning a ton of championships. There aren't that many.
well, look, Donovan Mitchell, if you ever catching this show here, congratulations on the 71. Whether you needed a regular time or you did it in overtime, you still dropped the 71 spot.
Yes.
So
Congrats.
congratulations on that. I am not comparing you to Kobe because I'm gonna let T do that instead. Which is completely unfair to that man's 71.
Oh man.
I've got one thing to bring up, and it does involve baseball there. But remember how we were talking about the Carlos Correa on how he left the Giants to go to the Mets, and now the Mets, he failed the physical with the Mets, right? Yeah. So now the Mets are just frustrated with the negotiations that they're having with Carlos Correa, and now he may not even sign with his team. And,
oh man!
And the guy is being so stingy that he deserves his 13 years. When you've had two MLBs just completely expose your medical records, and no one may sign him now because of it.
Yeah, well,
and now he's gonna have to take less money to go play somewhere because of it. It's mind blowing on how all this is developed.
I mean, did he just play last year? I don't understand. Like, was he out of the league?
Or? He played a full season last year.
Yeah,
he had a really good.
What happened?
I mean, I guess with any sort of new signing, you have to go through you got to go through a physical, but I guess he ain't passing his physical. I mean, he signed a cheap deal for last year. I think it was like a 1 year, so obviously that physical really didn't mean much to them. Yeah. But on a long-term deal, it does make sense because you're paying over almost $300 million to a guy. You want to make sure you get your money's worth with that, and I guess the team's being a little smart. So I still apologize to the Giants for being as aggressive as I was towards letting him go. But after the Mets have expressed the same thing, my bad.
Exactly.
But man, dude, this was fun tonight.
Yeah,
absolutely fun, man. I love predictions. I love when the chat gets on fire here. Hey, did you see Kaleidoscope yet on Netflix?
No, man. Is it good?
Supposedly, my sister was telling me about it. It's like 5,000 ways you can watch the episode, and everyone's account logs in as a different way of watching it. So the episodes are color coordinated. I think it's got like 8 different colors or something like that. And so your Netflix account will make you watch it in a different order than, say, my Netflix account here. So
what the hell, man?
It's interesting. Okay. It's about a high show as well.
A what?
It's about a heist show, supposedly.
What is a heist show? What are you talking about?
A heist, like a robbery show.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, man. We just got from my wife. We watched The White Lotus, which is actually good on HBO Max.
Oh, was it really?
It's a really like story kind of thing that deals a lot with people's relationships with one another, and it comes off almost like a soap opera, really. But it's really well done. It's got a lot of interesting scenes and really gets to the heart of some really like in a funny way gets to the heart of some really you know bad elements of human beings with privilege. So it's just pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll have to check it out here. Wu Tang, you need to give us one more Wu Tang before we sign off. He said, "Diversify your bonds."
Oh,
Can't say
and
the last part.
oh,
Can't say.
did the Detroit
Oh, the Lions just.
did they get the
Oh,
ball?
another. Oh,
Did they get no? They didn't get the ball. Who got the ball?
looks like the Packers are coming away with this
I
one
don't
here.
know. I gotta see that. Oh, well, was he down? Oh yeah, no, he recovered that for sure. Good play by the Packers there. That went right into his hands. That was almost a turnover to the Detroit Pistons. I mean Detroit Pistons, Detroit Lions.
Not what?
Not the Pistons. I'm sorry.
Well, hey man, I think that I mean, I really don't have much to cover outside of getting ready for the NFL and the playoffs here.
Yeah, man. Me neither, man. I think we're gonna have a really big show next week because then we'll be talking about actual playoff games, and get a chance to really get in depth in those games and talk about who won and why they won and who lost and why they lost. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to the wild card playoff weekend. So, and I hope
I'll make sure to post our predictions later tonight to see if we are a little accurate than we were on the regular season here.
Yeah.
Not to say well, that was a wash for you. You make it up during the postseason here.
Yeah, I'm out. Don't listen to nothing I got to say at this point.
Although when we were doing our picks, you were doing a pretty good job of that as well.
Oh yeah, well the picks we did good. Yeah, I got the picks down. But other than that, yeah, as far as the season I thought the Raiders would have had, yeah, I was a little off. I wasn't the only one, but I was a little, just a little.
Just a tad bit here. Well, I think that's going to do it for us tonight, my man.
All right, folks. Well, this is another great Sunday evening. We hope to keep people coming back. And as you can see, anytime you jump in the chat, we are going to respond and make sure that you get your 2 cents in and respond, obviously. So continue to stick with us. We'll be back next Sunday with another show talking about the NFL playoffs, of course. And so as I say at the beginning, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notifications button. Don't forget to hit the like button. We appreciate having everybody here. Josh, Nathan, Tim, Kane. Yeah. So I think that was it. Yeah.
Go tell other people about us. We could definitely use the support. Go tell your friends. Go tell your family. Go tell some random person on the street. Like, hey man, this is a good sports talk show. You should come listen to them.
Josh.
We really appreciate it here. So we of course appreciate you guys taking the time out of your Sunday, the end of the week here, to spend like an hour and a half with us just to talk sports. So we really enjoy that there.
Josh, yeah, we'll have to touch on that next week. We didn't get a chance to really talk about it, but yes, the national championship game is tomorrow. So we'll touch on that.
Real quick, did you hear that they were not allowing the college fans to tailgate for the national championship game?
Well, why not?
I don't know.
That's what's up with that?
I don't know. I got to look into it a little more. But
they
said no tailgating for you guys.
You mad at barbecue? What is it?
I know, right? Hey, Kane, go to bed. It's getting past your bedtime now.
Yeah, exactly.
7:30.
All right, y'all. Take it easy. Until next time.